The fundamentals of slipping a punch seem so basic, but so many people tell me they struggle. They struggle so much when it comes to sparring to see shots come and actually evade them. Today I'm going to give you all the tips you need to start making this happen when you're in the gym and you have live sparring rounds. A little over a year ago, a whole year, I wore this shirt for you in an episode, and I'm so happy to say that it looks brand new, just as good as the day I first wore it. And I've been wearing it for weightlifting sessions, for kickboxing sessions, putting it through the wash consistently. So I would like to thank Into the AM for providing me with such fantastic apparel. They have amazing graphic t-shirts with, as I mentioned, fantastic quality, and the colors, the patterns on these graphic tees are beautiful. I am all about unique designs, big bright colors, super fun image. This is what Into the AM brings when you buy apparel from them. Every time I go to the gym, I have somebody saying, whoa, that's a really cool shirt, and sort of scoping it out, seeing what's happening, and just seeing the amazing detail and creativity that goes into these. And I have good news. If you're wanting to save 10% on top of the up to 60% massive store-wide sale that they're having, you can head over and shop at intotheam.com/Varga10. You've got quality, you've got such a nice material, and you have that crazy pattern that is just gonna catch eyeballs. You can't go wrong, guys. Head over to Into the AM and find something fun for yourself today. Slipping fundamentals. They are always paramount before we get to actually executing. And let me give you guys a few bullet points which are so important so you don't make the common mistake like, okay, I go to slip a shot and I get clocked with a high kick in the middle of it. What are we looking to do fundamentally to avoid stuff like that? Well, obviously when my hands are up, if I keep both hands right here, especially with big gloves on, and I'm protecting my head, I'm gonna feel so big in comparison to just my head size, right? A glove to the side of my head almost doubles the width. So what you can do is have your hands at this position, but as you go to slip, you can easily drop one side. So now I don't have to be like, okay, I'm gonna get clipped here and I have to slip this far. No, as you slip, you can drop your hand a tiny bit. But the way that you are dropping your head, if I'm slipping to my right hand is staying locked. Whenever I'm competing in a fight sport that has kicks, if it's boxing, that's fine. You could slip with both hands down, but not in MMA, not in kickboxing, not in Muay Thai. So we want to make sure that even if our hands start high, one stays high, the other one drops a little bit. And then when I come to my cross counter, it can come back up. If I'm going for rolling under shots, it's not as important because I'm switching the height of my head. If you get down those few little tricks, all of a sudden it becomes much more realistic because now your head is not twice the size and now you're not going to be leaning straight into something which is going to knock you out. Now you also want to remember one other big key. When we go to slip, we don't want to engage too far, right? We're not going to be dropping way down here. Sure, it helps with us staying low and being more evasive if there's just punches because the person has to reach way down. But when we're dealing with kicks, we want to think we slip the minimal amount required as opposed to, whoa, look at how much that shot missed me by. Because I want to be able to slip one, slip two, slip three, and keep up with the speed of punches. So try to make your motions small and fairly quick. But aside from that, the reason many people are unable to execute slipping when they're sparring is because they're far too rigid. Far too rigid. If I keep my head in place and I'm just kind of bouncing along like this, but my head's very locked, I have to create movement, right? My head, my upper body is stationary. So now when I see somebody start to punch, I have to go, okay, now I have to move. But they've already started the motion, so I'm already a step behind. I stay in motion if I'm thinking about slipping shots, as opposed to, very stiff. Stay in motion, little head movements, even if my hands are up, little head movements. And now, half the time, I might already start my movement in the correct direction and can just continue on. If not, it's much easier to change directions when you're already in motion. So stylistically, you need to think about what fight style defensively you're wanting to take. If your head is very stationary, maybe it's better to be blocking, shelling. If your head is moving a little bit, then you can go about creating extra movement. Now, drilling wise for slipping, what are some great ways, whether you be at home or at the gym, to drill by yourself? And that's what this channel is mostly about. We're not talking about, oh, what's all the training that you can do at the gym with partners. A lot of times I'm focusing on what we want to do when we're at home and we're trying to improve there. So very first thing, step in front of a mirror. Put 2 pieces of tape about 6 inches apart. Step far enough back that that tape is pretty much lining up with your ears, and then you just slip, and you can see exactly how far you should be slipping. You can also put a horizontal line so you can go, okay, am I getting low enough when I do my slip, but not too low, so I'm way below that line. That is a great starting way for you to practice things like, okay, I'm gonna slip the jab, slip the cross, roll under, jab, cross, jab. Think of a combo in your mind. Jab, cross, jab. 1, 2, 3. Double jab, cross. 1, 2, 3. Double jab, cross, hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can start going through those motions and thinking about realistic combos and how you might block them. The next step is going to be combining up the body and the head in combos. And this is where many people struggle. I can get in front of them and say, okay, I want you to slip jab, cross, hook. Boom, 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 no problem. Now I want you to slip jab, cross, hook, hook. Boom, 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 no problem, because everything's at head level. And they're like, yeah, look at me go. Now I say I want you to slip jab, cross, block the body, slip under the head, block another body, and slip under the head. And all of a sudden they're going, oh, 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 and they're struggling. We want to have that ability to maneuver, maneuver, block, slip, block, slip, things like that, where we are switching levels. Because when somebody starts switching levels in a fight sport and we take a body shot, again, we don't want our head to freeze. We don't want to become very rigid. We want to be able to block the body shot, get back to our head movement. Block the body shot, get back to our head movement. That's a concept that many people miss, and it's going to help you so much. Now, moving beyond that, this is the part where things are just going to blow your mind. When you slip shots, a lot of times it's not necessarily you seeing something and then reacting to it. A lot of times it's you preemptively moving and then people throw and you're like, oh, look at that, it missed. Oh, look at that, it missed. So that is why it is so important to not stay stationary and wait for movement, but to already be moving around. Now we take this one step further by putting slipping at the end of our combo. So if I do something like jab, cross, left, round kick, cross, hook, exit, my question would be, why didn't you have a slip on the end? Why didn't you go jab, cross, left, round kick, cross, hook, roll? Because maybe they throw a hook, a counter, and you just happen to slip under that. And even if they didn't, you managed to cut an angle. So you can do that at the end of all your shadow boxing. Instead of jab, cross, roll. Instead of cross, up, or hook, we go cross, up, or hook, roll under. You can always do stuff like that. Jab, roll, up and cross, roll. If you are wanting to get good at head movement, you have to be doing that. It can't always be reacting to what's coming at you. It's preemptive movement. And the number of times where I have been in sparring or even in a fight, even though I'm not a big head movement person because I am more upright, a little bit more rigid, but the times where I just happen to move my head and a shot goes by and it looks like I planned to slip it, but it just happened to work, so many times. Every time I go to the gym, so many times where I'm like, okay, body, body, and I just happen to do my roll and they throw. I'm like, whew, that made me look good. I wish I'd actually reacted to that. but it does work. And that's why you see so many boxers when they do their shadow, bam, 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 bam. And they're always throwing and finishing with that roll, or throwing and moving their head off the center line. Have to do it. If you take everything I told you with the fundamentals and now the drilling, you have a very good chance of starting to actually execute head movement successfully when you spar. So that's it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please give the video a like if you have not already, and I will see you back here soon for another episode.